They are very similar. We got ourselves a hell of a main event. Joe Lozon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Orlando, Florida, and for everyone watching on UFC Fight Pass, we've got the two fighters ready to go. So that means it's time to rattle this cage! This is your CES 62 main event of the evening. We're scheduled for five-minute rounds for the vacant CES Bantamweight Championship. Brought to you by Resorts World Bimini, where gaming meets paradise. Your referee for this championship bout is Larry Folsom. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the black with white. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 135 pounds, with a record of 9 wins, 6 losses, 4 wins by knockout, and 3 by submission. Originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, now fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida. Please welcome Josh, that guy, Smith. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black with gold. He stands 5 feet 9 inches, weighing in at 136 pounds, with a record of 13 wins, 8 losses, 7 wins by knockout, 2 by submission. The U.S. Navy veteran from East Providence, Rhode Island, he is Dinis Sweetbread Paiva!
Oh, baby.
Guys, we went over the rules in the locker room. Do you have any questions? Okay, protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. You want to touch gloves, do it.
Oh, man, here it is, Joe.
Here we go. The main event.
You saw Josh extend his arm and say, hey, do you want to touch gloves? You talked about that earlier.
Yep.
You don't have to. You can. Josh with the blonde hair and the black trunks. Paiva. He's got the regular toned hair. See that angle on not quite a front kick, not quite a round kick.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes that kick is used almost the way like in a gunfight, in a Western, where you flip the table to start shooting. Just kind of clear the range.
Distraction.
Yep. Distract and clear that space.
Yep.
Dinis, really, he's left-handed, but I just love the way that jab comes from the southpaw for him.
He's quick. He's very long with that left hand, too.
Yeah. And you'll notice it's sort of low sometimes, like he's inviting you. Oh, he caught him with the uppercut as he came in. Just touched him with the uppercut. That will discourage that type of behavior, perhaps.
It's so important about the first couple exchanges. It really does set the tone for a round or for the entire fight sometimes.
Yeah, that jab, just deep penetrating jab. He's showing fakes, real obvious, intentionally obvious fakes with the back leg. There, that right touch over top, left touch over top of the right hand. I'd like to take a second to shout out Michael Chiavello, one of the great play-by-play men in the game, watching from Australia. Joe, do you know Chiavello?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Awesome cat.
Of course.
If there's a knockout, you can say goodnight, Irene, if you like.
Wouldn't do it justice.
No. Correct. See, when he throws, when Dinis just goes from 0 to 60, it really physically is something special to watch.
I think he's giving Josh a little trouble too, because he's standing righty and then lefty and then righty and then lefty, just making it difficult. If someone's trying to take you down, you really generally are trying to take that. You're trying to focus on that front lead leg and try and catch it with a single or blast your double or whatever you're gonna do. But when someone's switching their stance so regularly, it makes it kind of hard to set up your takedown.
And Josh has started switching too, and there's one thing that is really important. When you switch to something, you change your weapons, but you also change your defensive systems. So sometimes to have the better weapon, you go to your second best defensive stance.
Yep.
So with Josh at different times is going to move into a less defensively sound stance if he keeps changing just because Dinis is changing. Ooh. Dinis is doing an excellent job of being where he wants to be in relation to the distance.
Yeah, I have to think that if this was still a 3-round fight, you know, they might have been a little bit more intense right off the bat.
Ooh. That right hand came from just an odd trajectory.
An odd angle.
Yep.
He mixes it up well.
That, and people will see often, again, we talked about this earlier, what is correct or not right. There's 2 touches for Josh Smith. So, you know, Dinis's right hand comes down, or from Orthodox, his left hand comes down. But that's intentional, you know. And there's a really interesting entry, but an excellent slippery escape by Dinis Paiva. Watch Dinis's right hand. See, it's down, a little invitation. Oh, ooh. We can't just spam each other with these low kicks like people think. They're not free. There are consequences to throwing them. Sending some love to Chris Weidman while we're at it. That's not free. You don't get to just spam each other with kicks. You can injure yourself. You can be countered. It is not the calf kick, the low kick is not a free attack. 1 minute remaining. Joe, do you see this round so far for Dinis?
I think just because he's been a little bit more aggressive. I think he's held the center of the cage. I think he's landed a little bit better shots. You know, Josh Smith had a great takedown entry, but Paiva shrugged it off and got out of there.
I don't know if we'll see it when we get the replays, but I think in the first 30 seconds, there was a nasty little touch with the uppercut by Dinis as well. And that might have changed the dynamic of the next few minutes that followed.
Yeah, I think he landed a decent right hook at one point, too.
Yep. That was that odd angle one.
Yep.
And then the jab has done well for him. But, you know, Josh is settling in nice now.
We got 5 rounds now.
Yeah.
Take the time.
Yeah.
No sense in being impatient.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting last 20, 30 seconds.
It was.
CES would like to thank
both these guys are planting little
including
seeds for
Virtual
future,
Cons, a new app
you know,
developing a
for
powerful
future
social
setups.
platform that will provide everything you need in one single app. Join today at virtualcons.com. And don't forget about that Bump Box hosted after party right here at Grand Sierra F&G right after the fight. All the fighters, all the celebrities. It's going to be a blast. Be sure to come to the after party right after the main event.
Speaking of fighters, we saw Julian Lane. Let me bang, bro. You know Julian Lane?
Yep.
He was a bare knuckle boxing champion in England. I commentated his fights. He was here. He said, of course, let me bang, bro.
Of course, yeah.
Yes, he did. You know, there's been a few touches. You see the right eye has a little bit of swelling. There was also some blood. So some of those deceptive shots by Josh Smith has marked him up a little.
It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes you catch someone just right.
And Sweetbread has had his nose broken more than a few times in his life.
I think anyone that has been fighting has definitely had some banged up noses, but Sweetbread has had more than his fair share.
Let's see if there's any difference from Josh. He only really, with intention, made one sort of deep wrestling entry in round 1, and that doesn't surprise me. I don't think he wants to be just overly attacking the wrestling. He wants to let it come.
If you're shooting too many takedowns, you become predictable. You're going to eat an uppercut. You're going to eat a knee. It's going to be dangerous. You got to, especially in a 5-round fight, you know, take your time.
Yeah, you know, we saw a switch from southpaw to orthodox to southpaw again from Dinis before throwing the punch. So the switches just try to overload your brain with information that you have to interpret. And then the punch comes out of nowhere.
Good game of chess. Feints and counters all day.
And that's what we were alluding to, that these are planting of seeds for later harvest. You know, these little things, patterns that you're getting the brain to start anticipating things, and you're going to give it different information.
Paiva's landed some decent punches to the face, but Josh Smith has landed some good leg kicks.
Yep. Josh Smith used the time when he was moving forward to drop under. Just didn't get the grab he wanted. And that's a credit to Dinis. It's not an error on his part. It's a credit to Dinis. Josh has a fair bit of depth on that left of his own, you know, and it's coming in a straight line, too.
It's been pretty much just as Andre said. Felt like Paiva was going to have a little bit of a hands advantage, and, Josh was going to, be a little quicker with the wrestling. Takedowns. The right hand.
Man, this is the difference of a 5-round fight. Normally, you'd be halfway through the fight now, right? As we get started. Oh, 2 big ones. He's hurt. Yeah, he's got to get his brain back, and it's a really good chance for Josh to try to. He landed 2 in combination, and you saw a solid wobble from Dinis. I like Dinis' thinking to fire back. That's what Joe Lozon would do. That's the risk-taking choice, and sometimes the risk pays off.
Yeah.
There's the broken nose again. You can see it clearly.
Yep.
We talked about that a minute or two ago.
Still on wobbly legs.
Yeah. Josh is being patient, which can be good. Or he's being patient, which can be bad, right?
Yep.
It really is.
So if you're Josh, you really got to pressure Paiva because you're going to let him off the hook.
You have changed the dynamic of this fight, though. Josh has absolutely changed this fight. And I like that choice now. He's not expecting it. Let's work to the back. On the separation, you can also strike there. This is going to be a really tough 3 rounds plus ahead. And right now, if you were taking the over-under, not a lot of people think this fight's going five rounds.
No.
And he's been looking for this. And you got your nose bleeding, you got your nose broken, breathing is becoming difficult, your face is oily and greasy with blood, but he's got 2 hands on one. That body lock is a rough place to be.
It's hard.
Yeah. How much pressure is on the organs there?
I think not too bad just yet, but now the choke's under the chin. It's going short choke.
Short choke or 10-finger, those are the only 2 options on this night.
Yeah.
That body lock there. You can keep striking. Now he's got it. Oh, no, he's going old school. Wow. I'm so happy for this kid because he's such a wonderful kid, and he earned that fight. He took it, but you got to feel for Dinis Paiva. Sure. You got to feel for him.
For sure.
It just was not meant to be.
He got tagged. I mean, that combination. He got hit with 2 shots in a row.
Yeah. It was 2 on the exit, and that was what the reach got him. And maybe we'll see that when we see the replays, when the 2 that wobbled him. But what you will see if we see it was Dinis was exiting. He was moving away, and it was during the movement, during the sort of extraction, that he got lit with 2, including one that probably broke his nose again.
Paiva's peeling the gloves off.
Yeah, and
usually
probably
indicative of someone that's saying they're done fighting.
Yeah, that's a heavy feeling for him. He came in here wanting. This was his 21st or 22nd fight in CES. He's been an anchor of this fighting show, and now this young man, and he's a charmer, and he's funny, and he's celebrating, and he's earned every right to celebrate.
100%.
Here it is. No, that's not the one. It was on the exit, but here is the end. Now you see that shot to the nose. Once you've got facial trauma here,
it's
and you
hard.
got those shots are all hurting and ringing in the head different. And he already fought that off a couple of times with a valiant effort. But Josh Smith is the CES Bantamweight champion, and he has earned every right to celebrate that fight.
He fought a great fight.
He really did. Yeah.
He withstood the shots from Paiva early on.
Yep. And he was opportunistic when he needed to be.
Yep.
I wonder if he's remembered yet that there's a belt coming in and $4,000 worth of gold from Oxford Gold Group. You forgot. I'm sure he forgot.
Ladies and gentlemen, our main event comes to a halt at 4 minutes, 1 second of the 2nd round due to a rear naked choke. Your winner by submission and new CES That